Star-Lord Chris Pratt being stuck on a spaceship with Mystique Jennifer Lawrence. Hey, that's not a bad deal. Passengers, directed by Morton Tildum, the man that directed The Imitation Game. This movie stars Chris Pratt as Jim Preston. He is on a spaceship going to a new Earth of sorts called Homestead 2 with 4,999 passengers along the ride of this 120-year-long voyage in hibernation pods so they don't die before they get to the new planet. Something goes wrong and Jim Preston's hibernation pod opens early, as in 90 years early. So he's gonna die before he gets to this new home world. Or he'll be an old man before he gets to this new home world. And later on, Aurora Lane's hibernation pod opens, played by Jennifer Lawrence. And when they meet, they end up falling in love, since they're all alone on this ship, except for a android bartender, played by Michael Sheen, Arthur. Eventually, they find out something has gone horribly wrong with the ship, and they have to find a way how to stop what's gone horribly wrong and save everybody else that's still asleep. Eventually, one of the members of the crew wakes up, Lawrence Fishburne's character, Gus, and he helps them out, and that's basically our movie. Now, I was a bit excited for this movie because I am a science fiction fan. I like Chris Pratt a lot, I like Jennifer Lawrence a lot, and this movie looked pretty good from the trailers, but then I also was realizing that this was coming from Sony Studios. And Sony Pictures really doesn't do a good job of making movies lately. I mean, they didn't do a great job with the Amazing Spider-Man films. So much that they had to recast Spider-Man and get help from the MCU in order to make it better. That's why I got Spider-Man Homecoming, where you have a new actor playing Spider-Man, Tom Holland, instead of Andrew Garfield. So when I heard about this movie, Passengers, I was excited, but I was also a bit skeptical because I've known the history of Sony Pictures, I've known how sold out they are, that they haven't been producing that many good movies lately. And unfortunately, this movie is good, but it's really not all that memorable, and it's a bit of a disappointment. Chris Pratt is a great actor, a very likable guy, and he does a really good job carrying this movie. He's the lead character through much of this film. I really like the way he was portrayed in this film as Jim Preston. The character was great. The ship looks awesome. The special effects are great. I like the android bartender, even though he's a futuristic version of the bartender from The Shining, pretty much. You can tell that's what they were referencing. And there's a lot of that. And one of the main problems with this movie is a lot of references to other films that are actually much better than this one, which I'll get into a little bit later when I talk about the negatives of this movie. Jennifer Lawrence is great in this film too. They have great chemistry together, and the romance is done very well, but really this isn't not all that memorable of a film. One of the problems with this film, when I get to the negatives of this movie, is the fact that sometimes Jennifer Lawrence feels a little bit like an ornament and not as much important to the plot, aside from the fact that she's there as the love interest, really. And she does become a little bit more important to the plot when the main conflict of the movie comes up. But aside from that, she's not much important to the movie, and Chris Pratt is more important considering he's the lead actor, and Jennifer Lawrence is more of a supporting character, which begs to wonder why she got top billing in this movie. And Chris Pratt is now just as popular as Jennifer Lawrence because of the Guardians of the Galaxy film, and since it's coming out with a sequel next year. So he could have just gotten top billing instead, but whatever. And the other problem with this movie is all the references to other films. You got 2001 Space Odyssey referenced in this movie. You got the Shining with the bartender referenced in this movie. You got Titanic referenced in this film in a way. You have Castaway referenced in this in a way, because through months of the film it's just Chris Pratt and the android bartender. Jennifer Lawrence doesn't come in until like 10 or 15 minutes later into the film. And I was just wondering throughout the movie, when's Jennifer Lawrence showing up? When's Jennifer Lawrence showing up? Finally she shows up. And I don't want to spoil how she shows up and the circumstances to how her pod opens up, but I was a little bit shocked at how that happens. And then when Lawrence Fishburne's pod opens up and you find out about the main conflict of the movie, and the whole question as to why they were woken up early, quote unquote. Because that was one of the main taglines of the film, why were they woken up early? And the main conflict wasn't really all that investive. They didn't do a good job of raising the stakes with the main conflict of the movie, and it was done pretty quickly. And there wasn't much suspense, really. There was some suspense, but not that much. And pretty much overall, the ending was kind of stupid. I didn't understand how the ending worked, how it made sense, and overall it just wasn't all that great of a movie, really. So I'm just going to give this movie a C+. It's pretty much just a rental, pretty high rental because of the special effects and the chemistry between the two leads. And there were some aspects of the story I liked, and I did like Michael Sheen as the bartender, but really it's just not all that great of a movie. And Lawrence Fishburne is kind of wasted, and then you have Andy Garcia, who has a cameo in this film, and that is a waste of a great actor too. So really it's just not all that good of a movie, and I'd say wait until it comes out on Netflix or Redbox, just rent it that way.